Hi everyone, it's your favourite Atomic Blonde here with a bit of Pop Chat special. So today I have been to go see, I don't know why I said like that. Hey, first of all, hope you're all well, hope you're all good. So today I went to go see The Running Man. So Edgar Wright's latest film. Starring Glen Powell. Obviously, it's a new adaptation of the Stephen King novel, which I think was written under his pseudonym, Richard Bachman, I think it was written under. And obviously, it's very different to the Arnie version we got back in the 80s. I mean, it's quintessentially 80s, that version. Was quite different to the book. I'll be honest, I haven't read the book, but I've read various things. And obviously, when the film came out back in the day, it said it was quite a big departure from the book, etc. They just kind of took the themes of the Running Man and the game show and the names from the book, basically. So this version, so I was looking forward to this. Where do I start? Like the positives, right? I think Edgar Wright is a very talented director. I love, like most people, the Cornetto trilogy. For anyone who doesn't know what that is, that's Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and World's End. Obviously, all starring Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. Great comedy films. Trying to decide between Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz is pretty hard, but I think Shaun of the Dead just kind of nibs it there. And I like Edgar's style. So in terms of the film, this is, it's much grittier. It's much more dystopian. You haven't got the sort of bright neon colors of the 80s. You still have the hot girls in leotards dancing around on stage for any men or want to know that. The cast is great. Like I say, you've got Glen Powell as Ben Richards, the lead role. Josh Brolin, and he's playing Killian in this, but Killian is actually the head of the station rather than the host of the Running Man. That's played by a different character. But very, very good. All the acting very, very solid. Looks great. And the world building, like in terms of this sort of future, where everything's run by corporations and the network, and the poor people are getting poorer, to the point that, basically Ben Richards, he's married and has a daughter. His wife's kind of pulling double shifts. She's a waitress. He's like well, we don't really see what his jobs are, but they're all like kind of things like oil rigs and mining and sort of blue collar work, I think. And he is sort of stuck up for the rights of the workers. This is all very corporate. So by sticking his neck out and helping other workers and sort of saying, hey, this isn't right, or our lives are in danger, he basically gets fired from his jobs. And then he gets blacklisted by the corporations, which means like no one will offer him a job. His daughter is sick with the flu, and they basically just don't have enough money to get her the doctors and the appropriate medicine, or they can get her some stuff off the black market, which really isn't, she's not going to make it. Now on the networks, there's a series of different game shows, reality game show type things where you can win some money. But obviously the one that offers the most money is The Running Man. Now, the premise in this is you are on the run for 30 days, and there are hunters after you, as well as the public. So the public can basically shop you, make a video of you, and they'll get money. They're even allowed to kill you. So not only are you contending with the public, you've got these hunters on your trail. And the premise is the same as the original. It's not really a spoiler. That basically, obviously, the game's rigged, that you can't win it. And same as the original, but done in a different way. But again, it sort of gradually comes out that the game's rigged, and and Ben comes to realize, and he finds some people along the way to kind of help him survive so he can get back to his family. So I think the biggest complaint about this film is the pacing. The original, I think, was about 90 minutes, 97 minutes, very punchy, typical 80s action, I guess. This is like, I think it was over 2 hours or something. It was like, which is way too long. I think an hour and a quarter into the film, hour and 20. You're only on day 13 out of the 30 days he's meant to be on the run. And spoiler, we don't actually get to day 30, thank God. But, over like an hour into this film and it's like day 13, you're a bit like, how many times are we going to see him, jumping on a train, running, someone shopping him, him just doing the same things. There's lots of sort of hiding and talking. And I think because of the pacing, it does really drag in at some points. I mean, it's a shame because the film kicks off really well. You get the premise set up. He's on the show. He's out on the run, and then it's just because of the pace. There's just no real tension to it. So, and I think this is the same issue I had with Last Night in Soho, Edgar's previous film with Matt Smith, which is and Anya Taylor-Joy, I think, which is a really good film. I really like that film. But again, you could cut half an hour out of that film and it would still work. And one of the reasons I think the Edgar's, like, so the Cornetto trilogy is so popular. They're very, very funny films, but they're tight. The dialogue is tight. The editing is tight. It's, like, it's really, really well made and focused. And maybe that's because he had much smaller budgets back then. I don't know. Or he had someone that could help sort of rein in and tighten, those pieces. So they're just, the dialogue and the direction were just perfect. Both Last Night in Soho, 30 to 40 minutes you could cut out of that film. It is a good film, but again, it just kind of sort of meanders in places, and you're just like, you could really hack a lot more out of this and get a much tighter film. And that's my biggest complaint of this. The adaptation itself is quite good. The acting is very solid. It looks great, but the pacing is just, you're just sitting there at points going, oh, great, he's going to hide in another room and it's going to go wrong, and then he's got to run again, and so it's not a bad film. Would I recommend you going to the cinema to watch it? I hate to say, probably not, because I really like Edgar Wright, and Glenn Powell's is good in the role, and they're not trying to do. There's a few little jokes in there, but they're not trying to be like the Arnie jokes or anything like that. There's like a sort of a nod to Arnie. There's an Easter egg in there. I can't remember if it's in the trailer or not, but you'll know when you see it. So yeah, disappointing in that sense, because I was really looking forward to this film. I think if they just took out half an hour, 20 minutes of this film and made it tighter and just sort of up the action a bit. And I think the other problem really is kind of the subject matter itself. Not that it's a problem, but back in the 80s, calling out that we were going to be so corporatized and that reality TV was basically going to take over, and this kind of bloodlust that people have, that people are cheering on watching other people, is that sort of the progression of watching Gladiators kind of thing, was like, very new and fresh. And obviously this is the same story in the sense that, the corporations have taken over. They basically run the government effectively. They have control over whether you can work, whether you're rich, whether you're poor, whether you live, whether you die. And there's obviously a big slant in this, as it was in the original, where they sort of have, and obviously AI, they're basically just, it's all just making up fake what the people are saying. So the contestants have to do this video every day and post it. If they don't, then they'll stay in the game, but they won't win any more money. And basically, if they say anything in this 10-minute video that the corporation doesn't like, they just do an AI version and say something different. So trying to make them look like the bad guy, trying to get the public to turn against them and turn them in. So in a world of, we are pretty much in the world now where corporations do run the world. We are full of misinformation. We know AI is believable. We're like this far away from not being able to tell the difference. It doesn't hit as hard, or I think the film itself doesn't go in as hard as I think it probably could, because now it's all just like, that could happen. It doesn't sort of really take it to its sort of ultimate conclusion, I think, or where the original, obviously written way back, really kind of predicted the future there. There was no trying to push it any further, or where are we predicting? Okay, we're sort of in this dystopian future now, guys. Not quite as bad, but a lot of what you're saying, it's just 2025. Where's pushing that idea? Where's taking it to the next step? Where's that taking it? There wasn't really a lot of commentary on that, or trying to bring something newer to the story, because we've seen it in The Running Man, we've seen it in various like Black Mirror episodes. So I think it really just needed like kind of going harder on some of these aspects around the corporation, and just sort of how corrupt the corporations are, or see more in this world just how much control they have over people's lives. So I think that was the other thing, really, that it just doesn't hit as hard. Now we're kind of in this world. So I think they needed to kind of push that theme, or that sort of sci-fi element of, where what's post the world we're in now, because all kind of the 87 version showed us where we were going. Like I say, we're pretty much there. So it's just mirroring kind of where we are with the extra layer of violence, and the sort of slums and such. But it's very common in America that people can't afford to go to the doctor, and they can't afford to get medicine, and that the people die because they can't get operations. Thankfully, we have the NHS here in the UK. It's not perfect, but I can just go get some antibiotics for like £10 from the and all is good in the world, right? So I think some of these things just don't hit as hard, or so I think if they kind of push the envelope a bit there, or try to bring something that's sort of post not really where we are now, I think that would have really helped as well. But overall, like I say, it looks great. I do like Edgar Wright's style of direction. It's just far too long. The pacing is really not good, and for me, not enough. Either some sort of commentary, some kind of pushing that story forward, or you've got to have a bit more action. It needs to be one of those things, or a combination of those things, and it's just not quite there. So bit disappointed. I would say very excited to see this, and it's a shame, as I say on so many reviews, I had a great cast, very talented cast, talented director, just a bit wasted really on the story. It's not awful, it is watchable, but to be fair, I'd probably wait until it come onto streaming. It's not one I feel that given the pacing as well, you're probably going to want to pause it at some point, make a cup of tea, come back, stick the film on again. That's what I think. So I don't know, maybe like a 5 out of 10, I guess. 5 for the acting, maybe 5.5 because of how it looked, but shocking pacing, and didn't really bring us anything new to the table. So sorry about that, but as always, I'd love to know what you guys think. Have you been to see it? Are you planning to go see it? Or is it just another remake that you're just not interested in? But please do like, share, and subscribe as always. I keep trying to plug away, trying to get the channel out there. It's quite hard. I think a lot of content creators at the moment are saying like the algorithm is just all over the place. It's just not getting out there, and I've seen my views dramatically go down. I appreciate I didn't make some stuff for probably about 6 weeks, but it seems to have really knocked the algorithm, unfortunately. But hopefully Well, there's content coming out that I'm interested in. There'll be more to talk about. I'm going to try and do this like a kind of wrap up or catch-all show over the weekend. As I've seen quite a few trailers of things coming out, either towards the end of this year or certainly beginning of next year. That'll be good just to have a general chit chat about and just the state of Hollywood in general. So keep an eye out for that. Do let me know your thoughts or if there's anything you want me to cover or talk about. And I'll be back again soon. You take care now. Bye-bye.